Students, this video is the fifth in a multi-part series doing the review of inequalities from Unit 3. We're talking about the inequalities in terms of graphs, in terms of solving compound inequalities, and we've already done the do now together. We've already done the interpreting solutions to inequalities together. We did the solving inequalities, and we did graphing compound inequalities. So now we're moving on to interpreting graphs. Your objective was to write an inequality which describes each graph. You should have done it already, but if you didn't already do so, pause the video, try it, and then come back to see if you got it right. My first strategy is to write down the two numbers that have circles on them, regardless of whether they're open or closed. Here's a -4 and here's a 5. I'm going to be comparing x to both of these numbers. So now I'm going to put an x and a space in between to try to figure out what the symbol is. So x something -4 and x something 5. Now I'm going to take a look at the circle and figure out which way it's shaded from that circle. So -4, there's shading going upwards. So the value of x is going to be up here, wherever the shading is. So that means x is going to be greater than -4. Now we have to tell whether it's greater than or equal to or just regular greater than. Well, the symbol is filled in. So that means it's going to be greater than or equal to. We also have x and 5 being compared. It looks like the shading is below 5, so I'm going to say x is less than 5. In addition, it's an open circle, so I don't have to put the equal sign on the bottom here. It's just x is less than 5. One other thing that you should notice is that this inequality is coming together. They intersect each other, so we're calling this convergent. What does that mean to you? It should mean that the two inequalities converge or come together. In other words, we're looking for the word and in between here. This is a correct answer. You should feel comfortable with writing this. However, you can also, for an and inequality, put the two inequalities together with x in the middle. The only way that you can do that is taking this inequality and switching it around so that the x is on the right-hand side. So let's do that now. Of course, if x is greater than or equal to -4, then -4 is smaller than or equal to x, right? I switched the order, which means I switched the inequality. Now I'm going to continue building this inequality right from x to x, right? There should be a less than 5. Okay, so either of these two answers are acceptable. We could either write this or we could write this. Either way, it's correct. All right, moving on to the second one. This one is certainly not convergent. Pause the video, try this one out, and then come back to see if you got it right. Again, we're writing down the two numbers that have been compared, the -3 and the 4. It looks like I'm shading downwards from the -3, so I'm going to say x is less than 3. And then it looks like it's going upwards from the 4, so I'm going to say x is greater than 4. And now we have to tell whether there's an equal to or not. Here it's an open circle, so there's no equal to. Here it's a closed circle, so I'm going to say x is greater than or equal to, this symbol, greater than or equal to 4. So now I have x is less than -3, x is greater than or equal to 4. These two lines are going apart from each other, so we call this type of inequality divergent. It means that the word in between them is going to be or. So if we put these all together, here's x is less than -3, or x is greater than or equal to 4. Donezo. Take a look at that third one. I know the shading is a little strange here, but it looks like it starts here and shades upwards. It looks like it starts here and shades, this one shades downwards to the negatives, and this one is shading up towards the positives. Okay, pause the video, try this one out, and then see if you got it right. This one's divergent. So we identify the two numbers that are being compared. I got a -1 and I got a 0. Looks like we're going downwards from -1, so we say x is less than -1. And looks like it's going upwards from 0, so we say x is greater than 0. Now we check for equal tos. The 0 is not going to have an equal to, but the -1 is going to have an equal to, so that's x is less than or equal to -1. Of course, I'm basing the fact that we're putting or there on the fact that it's divergent. We can see the two graphs going apart from each other. Number 4, however, is not divergent. It's convergent because these two lines are coming towards each other. They meet up in the middle. Go ahead and pause the video if you haven't already done so. Try this problem and then come back to see if you got it right. Now you know we're writing down the two numbers that we're comparing. We got 1 and we got -5. We also identify that it should be x is greater than -5, open circle, greater than. and x is less than or equal to 1, less than or equal to because it's a closed circle. And in between, because the two lines come together, it's convergent, donezo. You could also write it as a compound inequality like this. Here's what that would look like. You could write it like this, that compound inequality. The reason I'm telling you that is because you might see it expressed both ways on your exam, so please just be prepared for that. Let's take a look at 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm going to go a little bit faster through these ones because we've already done these types of questions. Pause the video, try this one out, number 5, and then come back to see if you got it right. -2 is here. 5 is here. Both open circles, so both with no line underneath. And then we can put an and there because the two lines come together. We could also write it as a compound inequality, which looks like this. Amazing. All right, question number 6 is also convergent. Get started on that one and then come back to see if you got it right. Yet again, I'm identifying the two numbers. Here's -5, open circle, so no equals. Here's 3, closed circle, so equals. Shade down from 3, so less. Shade up from 5, so greater. And we can make this into a compound inequality like this. Almost done. Now we're taking a look at number 7, which looks like it is divergent. These graphs split apart. So let's see what it looks like. Starting at -1, so we place the -1 here. Shaded downward, so we say less than, open circle, so not less than or equal to. Starting at 5 and going upward, so x is greater than 5. Open circle because there's no, open circle tells us that there's no equal sign here, and we should be good to go. And it's an or inequality because they're divergent. We can't put them together into a compound inequality like this, so we'll just move on to question number 8. Pause the video, try this one out, and then see if you got it right. The arrow looks a little strange here, not sure why that is, but I should be going downwards to the left, so I can see that x is less than or equal to -5, right? Starting from -5 going downwards, or x is greater than -1, greater than because it's an open circle, or because they're divergent, they don't come together. All right, this was the video on graphing, interpreting graphs. We're talking about the review of inequalities from Unit 3, which is the inequalities unit. Good luck studying.